Hey everybody, it's me, Taki117 again. Welcome to episode 4 of my space program, where I teach you a little bit about Kerbal Space Program and how to play, as well as just walking you through my own personal experiences. So, we left off last time, we'd just gotten suborbital. We actually reached space, but we did not quite make it to orbit. So we have some fun saved up, we have a little bit of science to spin, so let's go ahead and take care of that. Now, general construction looks fun. This gives me some adapters, looks like some struts. We have aviation, maybe? Might skip that. Early flight control. So this gives me, looks like a couple of probe cores, some monopropellant, which is nice. Survivability gives me more parachutes, heat shields, a small oxygen tank. This gives me a radiator, some bigger batteries, and most importantly, some antenna. And I don't have enough to unlock any of the other nodes yet, but we'll worry about that here in a minute. So we've spent all that. Now, I've built up some rep, and I have some funds. So, what I like to do is I'm going to go into the administration building, and I'm going to pick a strategy. I don't need any science boosts, but what I do need is... here it is. I do need funds. I'm going to need a lot of funds. So this strategy is going to do. It's going to take some of my reputation from contracts I complete and give me some funds for it. I'm going to put this at 25% because I can't go any higher right now. I don't really want to go any higher. And now, I will lose 25% of my reputation from completing contracts, but I'll get an extra 1,000 funds for each rep that I've lost. So, it's a good trade-off, at least for me, because I don't like losing Kerbals. You lose reputation by losing Kerbals, by denying contracts, not completing contracts. So it is possible to lose rep and effectively lose the game. So let's check out mission control, see what else we have. Sputnik 1. So Sputnik 1 was the first satellite to reach orbit. It was launched by the Russians on October 4th, 1957. And it orbited the Earth for several hours before it finally died. And it was a big step in the space race. Now, if we look down here at my rewards, I'm losing 13 rep, but I'm gaining 13,000 funds for completing this contract. So, Sputnik 1 needs to be unmanned, have at least one transmission device, and has to achieve orbit. So I think I'm ready for that. And then we're going to... Could cross the radiation belt, but that seems a little far right now. So I think we're just going to test a probe decoupler at the launch pad. And now I have almost 300,000 funds. So, I'm still working with level 1 buildings here. So the first thing I want to do is upgrade my launch pad. So I'm going to right click that. I'm going to upgrade it for 50,000 funds. And you can see right now my max vessel size is 20 meters wide and 21.2 meters tall. I believe that's what those numbers are. And it can weigh a maximum of 18 tons. But if I upgrade it it goes to 36 and 39.6 meters and 140 tons. I'll upgrade that. Now, because I have curable construction time installed, it's going to take it a while to upgrade. I also want to upgrade my vehicle assembly building, but I don't have enough funds to where I feel comfortable doing that. But if I did, I would have 255 maximum parts, whereas right now I only have 30. So, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through. Oh, I have a lot of upgrades to spend. Wow, I've been neglecting that. So we'll up this a little bit. 9. So 1 build point per second. So I can build rockets pretty fast. And I'm going to generate 4 science and research things a little faster. So let's warp through all of this. Reconditioning the launch pad. We still have some tech nodes that we need to upgrade. So we're going to warp through those. Now, the space race was a competition between the Russians and the United States to see who could get man into space first. The ultimate goal was to land on the moon. John F. Kennedy gave his famous "We choose to go to the moon" speech during this period. And so, the Russians were in the lead most of the space race. Now here we're going to finish the launch pad. Give it a couple days. And the space race really kicked off with Sputnik 1. And America's answer to that was a probe called Explorer 1. Now, Explorer 1 was the first satellite that the U.S. launched on January 31st, 1958. So, the irony, of course, is that I'm going to recreate the Explorer 1 mission to complete the Sputnik 1 contract. Now, I could, of course, make a pretty accurate Sputnik replica if I really wanted to. So I'm going to go ahead and ditch this. I'm going to hit new, so I get a new rocket. And, you know, I could make a Sputnik probe. Let's see, put that. And I have some antennas here. And that looks kind of like the Sputnik probe, right? So I could use that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to build the Explorer probe. So here we have the Explorer probe core and the Sergeant rocket motor. So this part of the rocket stayed in space, and for gameplay reasons I need to start this antenna deployed. But I'm going to also check my contract. Have at least one transmission device. I'm not sure if this is going to do it, but I'm going to try. Let's see, I need this decoupler. That goes there. We have those rockets. This decoupler. Now these parts are courtesy of the FASA mod. It's a great mod. It has a bunch of historical parts, which is why I like it, so that I can recreate missions like the Explorer 1 launch. Oh. So, I accepted this test the probe decoupler contract, and that part is right here, and it's highlighted in blue, telling me, hey, this is the part you need to test. There's that. And we need the Explorer fuel tank here. There we go. Now it's starting to look like the actual Explorer rocket. This is actually a Juno rocket. The Explorer 1 was launched atop a Juno 1 RS-29 rocket, which is an intercontinental ballistic missile that they turned into a launch platform. A lot of the early launches, both for the Americans and the Soviets, were reused military hardware. Well, at least the Americans. I'm not entirely sure about the Soviets. So, this is only 13 parts, which is good. I'm going to put the launch clamp on there. Bring it down to the ground. Now I'm just going to, oops, I don't need that part. I'm going to stick this tiny little decoupler right on the side of this launch clamp here. There we go. Because, you know, all I'm doing is activating it through staging. I don't need anything fancy. And I'm going to call this the Explorer 1. So there it is. Go ahead and save it. It's going to take a little more than a day to build, so I'm going to go ahead and build it. Now, the actual Explorer probe had an apogee of 2,550 kilometers and a perigee of 358 kilometers. My Explorer probe is probably going to get nowhere near that. I don't intend for it to. All I'm trying to do is make orbit. Hopefully this will work. So as you can see, my launch pad is a little different. It's a little bit more than a hole in the ground. Rolling out the rocket. I have 237 funds. Now, what I can do, I don't want to do that just yet. I will eventually, don't worry, but not just yet. So, let's head out to the launch pad, and it is now done. So, it is now February 1st, 1958. We are standing by to launch the Explorer 1 rocket that will hopefully make it to orbit. So, launching in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition and liftoff of the Explorer 1 rocket. So, I'm going to follow my standard flight path. Now, I have been flying all of these rockets by hand. So all of the movements the rocket makes are input by me so that the rocket will achieve orbit. Now, MechJeb will eventually have the capability of flying rockets for me, and I will be using that mostly for launches. See, now we're getting into the supersonic region. Mach 1.5, we're getting some re-entry effects there, which is fine. As long as we don't see flames. If we see flames going up, we're going entirely too fast. Here we go, there's Florida. Cape. I'm not as far down as I should be. There's There's Mercury there, peeking over the, peeking out from behind the sun. And we got, what is that, Venus? Oh, there goes the first stage. So I'm going to hold on to it for just a little bit. There's Jupiter and something else. Europa. Europa flashed up there. It's one of Jupiter's mini moons. Alright, so we're going to drop that stage. There we go. Now, we're going to lean over. Boost away. So we're already in space. Now I just need to make orbit. Which means I need to build up a lot of horizontal velocity. Now, because I'm in space, there's not a whole lot of air resistance, which means I can get as far away from this prograde marker as I can. Try and bring it down and bring my apoapsis up, hopefully without bringing my periapsis up too much. See, right now I'm starting to boost down a little bit, follow the curvature of the planet. This is the benefit of bringing my apoapsis up, or my periapsis up, as well as keeping my apoapsis relatively stable. So that's burned out. Warp just a little bit. That's a bug with FAFSA. I don't know what causes it, but whenever you decouple that decoupler, it gets stuck. I'm going to activate those. Get out of here. The plumes you're seeing are from a mod called Real Plume. It changes the plume so it's based on atmospheric density, and it's not just a static object. Alright. So while we're up here, I'm going to go ahead and activate my Geiger counter. I'm not going to get a whole lot of science back, so I'm not going to worry about doing science on this mission. This is strictly to complete this contract that I have. It's very serene up here, you know? Looking at the east coast of the United States, South America down there, you got Mexico, South America. Alright, that stage is burned out. Activate that decoupler, and there it goes. Now we have this final stage. Here we go. I need to get my periapsis up to greater than 70 kilometers. Hey, and there we go. We are now officially in a stable orbit. And again, the actual Explorer rocket had an apoapsis of... I forget what I said. Here we go. Had an apoapsis of 2,550 kilometers and a periapsis of 358 kilometers. So I'm going to see if I can recreate that now. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to with the fuel I have left. As you can see, my apoapsis is well above that, but my periapsis is nowhere near. And I'm almost out of fuel. And there we go, I'm out of fuel. But we're in orbit. And I did actually complete the contract with the Explorer 1 rocket. So, the Americans are ahead, because I said so. So we're going to head back to the Space Center. You can do that by hovering over the altimeter and hitting the Space Center button. It's going to stay in orbit. And we're going to see what rewards we have waiting for us. So we have 25 science, that's good, and 325,000 funds. We're going to pick up our mess here. And mission control. Ooh, Sputnik 2. So this is basically just a recreation of the mission I just did. But I'm going to accept it anyway because it's an easy contract. And I'm going to do... Flight, Kerbals in orbit. I don't want to do a manned mission just yet. I could do this. Yeah. So, the one I just picked up is a position of satellite in a specific orbit contract. It gives me some orbital parameters, and we'll go over those when we get there. So, let's spend some of the sweet, sweet science. I'm actually going to spend it on science equipment so that I can do more experiments. And that's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to build a rocket to complete these other 2 contracts, and we're going to continue our quest. So thanks for joining me. You guys have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time. And remember, it's just rocket science.